It is 11:39 a.m. I've traveled to Long Island to meet with a man who's literally just rocked up on very little, if none at all, sleep, but feeling good for it. Raging Al Iaquinta, hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks for having us here in this is your gym space in your garage, is that right?
Garage, gym space. Some people call it the shed. I get very mad when they call it the shed.
Why is that offensive to you?
Because this is not a shed. This is
a proper gym.
This is a proper gym.
This is kitted out. This is nice.
For real, right?
I'm proud of it.
So, yeah, no, I love it here. I basically bought, when I was looking for a house, I basically bought a garage. And the house just comes along with it.
This is focus number one.
Exactly.
Priority number one.
When I saw this garage, I said, I just had a vision of, it was a weightlifting gym. He had all his weightlifting equipment in here. And
so it's already set up for you.
Did private lessons. So I had a vision of getting all that weightlifting equipment out of here and throwing down mats, putting up a heavy bag, and get a little office area in here. So
yeah, you're looking quite mafioso. We are sat at a big old desk.
This is where the big business goes down at the table.
Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit about that business, actually, because we can dive straight into that. I want to talk about your alter ego as a realtor or estate agent, as we'd say in the UK.
Yeah.
How much does that help you with negotiations? And how much do you do? Do you have an agent? Do you have a manager?
I do. I have a manager. Mm-hmm. So they assist me with a lot of the negotiations, but since I've taken up selling real estate, I've gotten way better at sales and negotiations and that sort of thing. It was something that I never really even thought about. I was just always thinking about fighting.
Because in this UFC business, it's getting more and more important. And I know you're hardballing your contracts now. You're getting confident with it.
You gotta stick up for yourself. And in the past, I think, and still, a lot of people just take what they're given as far as pay goes. They just want to keep the UFC happy, and you're doing a tremendous injustice to yourself because a little bit of sticking up for yourself can go a long way with the negotiations. So
tell me about that process. How does it happen? Because everyone figures, phone call from Dana to the manager, it's all sorted, nice and tidy. It's not quite like that, is it?
No, it can. It goes through my manager. He'll usually call me up and say, they're looking for this fight at this time against this person, and usually I'll come back with, well, I want this much money, and then they'll say, well, they'll go back and forth, and it's kind of a standstill. Sometimes they don't get what they want, and sometimes I don't get what I want. But I think they realize now that I mean business when I put out a number and I say what I say. It's not unreasonable. I have facts to back it up. In real estate, you have comparable houses that have sold for the price that they sold for. I look at comparable fighters that have fought for this amount, and I know they're making this. So I say, I see these guys making this much. How can you justify that and not justify giving me X amount? And that usually does the trick.
They probably hate you, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They'll come back with, they always has their reasons to kind of try to lowball you, but you stick to your guns and come with good facts, and usually it works out better.
So how much confidence and help in negotiation did UFC 229 Conor McGregor versus Khabib give you in contract negotiations?
It definitely helped out. Definitely, it really just, it's about the fans. The fans want to see you. They want you in the main event spot. Having fought with the champ, on short notice and putting up a good fight definitely brings me up there in the fans' eyes and everyone's eyes. The UFC. I was just out there at the Performance Institute, and I was meeting with a bunch of people from the UFC, and they all said how awesome of a fight that was. Them beating Kevin Lee now. I'm in a pretty good position.
It's amazing to me how much that raised your stock, even though you weren't there. Obviously, your fight with Khabib, a fantastic performance on a day's notice. But then UFC 229, where did you watch that?
I watched it about one town over from here. One of my buddies had a bunch of people over.
And so, I'm sure on that night alone, you started to see the text roll in, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. Everyone was saying, oh, this guy couldn't even do what you did on a day's notice. He had all the time to prepare. I got a million texts like that. Even during the broadcast, Joe Rogan said he brought up my name, and so that was really cool, you know, to be watching it with a bunch of my friends, and then he brings that up.
Yeah.
You know.
So it raises your stock, immediately must motivate you as well.
Absolutely. After that fight, I was tremendously motivated. Because before that, I was kind of, I wasn't like thought of as somebody that was really, like a contender. You know, I was kind of like on the outskirts of that top 15, kind of like lost in the mix. I think I felt a little lost. But then once I got that fight, you know, it was like, this is the toughest guy in the world. And I could hang in there with him with really not the proper amount of preparation. So immediately motivated me that I could beat anybody in the world.
Did you go to the gym the next day?
Oh, no, I was beat up. He kicked the crap out of me for 25 minutes.
No, I mean after watching 229.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Did you go to the gym the next day and feel good about yourself?
Oh, yeah.
Because psychologically that must do, I mean, it's a clear comparison for you, right? Like we talk about with negotiation and contracts, like you've got that extra comparison next to you. You've got all those text messages coming in. Psychologically, that's empowering.
Absolutely. It was awesome. And it was right about that time that I got the Kevin Lee fight. Mm-hmm. So I was just like, oh, this is
ready for you, Lou. Yeah.
It motivated me, got me back in the gym, and I immediately started preparing for the Kevin Lee fight because I knew a big win over Kevin Lee, who was knocking on the door of a title shot himself, you know, puts me right back up there.
So how would you describe the last 6 months? I guess it's been a whirlwind.
It's been weird, weird. That whole weekend was just this whole weird, you know. That was probably the craziest weekend I'll ever have in my life. I don't know if anything could top that. You know, I was on Thursday. I was at the media day, and Conor attacks the bus and he throws the dolly through the window. Yeah, all that craziness. Then the next day, all the craziness of Holloway's not making weight. I weighed in. Who are they gonna choose? I'm downstairs chasing around the matchmaker. I'm your guy. You gotta give me this fight. Find out that I'm getting the fight. Do the press conference like immediately after I sign the contract for the fight. And then the next night I fight for pretty much the world championship, headlining an arena in Brooklyn, the Barclays Center, that all my friends and family are there. Everyone's around watching. So I went from being the first fight of the night to the headliner like that. It was just a crazy emotion. I didn't sleep for that whole the last 3 days leading up to that fight. I was on like 2 hours of sleep. That's just amazing. My adrenaline was just carrying me.
I was going to say, how do you manage to stay with any level of sanity when it comes to things like that? Because it throws you around emotionally.
Absolutely.
And I know it's exciting and it's a good thing, but at the same time, scary.
Yeah, it was excitement for sure. I was sitting there just in bed trying to fall asleep. My mind was just racing, thinking about takedowns, stopping takedowns, jab, right hand, what leg kicks, what does he like to do? What is it? Just everything going through my head, you know. I wish I could have slept a little more. But
yeah, it probably would have benefited you.
And then after the fight, even that night and the next night, still that adrenaline, that excitement. Even though I lost the fight, I was still just wired adrenaline wise. It was crazy.
Let's talk about you've mentioned Busgate. Let's talk about McGregor. You've recently been tweeting him online and raised that beast. I wanted to talk about him in the light of what makes a popular UFC fighter, because he has obviously done a lot in the past to build himself up as a personality. The smack talk. Do you call that here? Smack talk? Yeah, you say the same thing. Sometimes I say things and the Americans are like, what is she talking about? The smack talk. And, you know, even Busgate, there's a certain amount of PR that came out of that, however much we might think it's disgusting. There are benefits to that in business. You managed to stay very sort of calm and correct. I think Kevin Lee said he wanted to send you back to the prelims, and you were like, well, that's not very nice.
Not very nice.
Not very nice at all.
Nope. Came back to bite him, eh?
Yeah, hell yeah. That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about that balance between being a true martial artist and putting on the PR game?
Yeah, it's a difficult balance because he's great at it. He can separate, or he just makes it work for him. All that crazy talk that he took it a little bit too far this time. I think with this Khabib fight, but he gets the people wanting to see it, and then he performs under that pressure. He's good under that pressure. He puts himself under. He puts him and his opponent under extreme amount of pressure, and he's good at working through it. I think he enjoys it. That's where he wants to be. He wants to be putting the pressure on the other guy and making it. He makes it the highest stakes. Everybody's watching it on the biggest stage. Him and Aldo, that was what a huge rivalry. That was all him just driving a rivalry, making it Ireland versus Brazil, Conor versus Aldo. It's just so much bigger than a regular fight, and I think he enjoys that.
It's good business. For him, there's obviously a massive element of personality. I think even if he wasn't a UFC fighter, he'd be a lot like that.
Absolutely.
What about for you though? When you send tweets like that, like you sort of triggered Conor recently and sent him a Twitter direct, do you think about the business side of it? Do you?
Yeah. I mean, obviously that would be a huge fight.
You knew when you sent that tweet, people are going to pick that up.
Yeah. No, I just kind of threw out a little line, and he nibbled on it a little bit.
Yeah.
I got a little bite. So I think it's good.
Are you pushing for that fight?
That's obviously a fight that I think would be it would be tremendous for my career. That fight.
How would it go down? You v. McGregor.
Ooh,
Walk me through it. What's your game plan there?
I would just have to try to move, just get him tired. Khabib did a great job with the way he fought him. I think for me it'd probably be a little different. His style is more just wrestling based. I think I'd mix it up a little bit more, But I think.
You think you'd win?
I thought no, absolutely. I'm winning that fight. That's a fight that I'm going to train hard for, and I'm going in there to win. Absolutely.
What do you have over him?
Well, I think you saw in that fight is toughness. I think that the later the fight goes, the better it would be for me. He's got a hard left hand, but it seems like that's all he's been winning with. He went the distance with Diaz, and that was a great fight. But I don't know. I feel like the later rounds put him in a little bit more danger, and he doesn't like to be in a dangerous position definitely when he's tired.
Doesn't like to be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
How about Khabib? Because you've mentioned before you'd like a second
Absolutely
go at that. What would you do differently?
Well, I think the first thing is competing more with the wrestling. I compete more with him. I think I kind of seceded to the wrestling. I not let him control me. He definitely controlled me, but I could have used more energy to try to escape on the cage, and I kind of just hung out there. He wasn't hitting me with huge shots. He was hitting me, but I wasn't sure of my gas tank going 5 rounds. I'd only trained for 3. I had never done 5 in the gym, so I was kind of in the first round. He took me down, and I was kind of like, all right, let's just hang out. In the rematch, it's not going to be like that. I'm not like kind of.
You'll have some sleep for a start, right? It won't be so mental beforehand.
Yeah. No, I'll be prepared on that side for sure. But just the way I fought him, I think I kind of I was like, all right, I'll hang in there with the wrestling, and then when it's stand up time, then it's my time. And by the time the 3rd round, I started defending some takedowns, kept it on the feet. I was just a step behind. I was a little slow. My arms were filled up with blood, and they just weren't firing as fast as they usually do.
Something you did that was really impressive, though, is your ability. I think it's been said a few times. Your ability to hit that reset button, and your psychology behind that. How do you keep refining yourself even when you're fucking tired.
Yeah, it's kind of just
Is there something that you see or say or?
no, I think it's just having a short memory, kind of in a good way, using it to my advantage. Having a short memory is, if the first round doesn't go that well, just kind of
forget it.
Yeah,
Goldfish it. What just happened to me?
I don't even really think about it.
That's really cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
It's unconscious. It's just moving forward. Something I kind of wish I did more in my life in general.
Yeah.
Something bad happens to you one day, and you just let it
hold no grudges. Forget it. Move on.
Hold you for like a week or something. Yeah, I wish in life I could do it. Have a short memory, but fights, it definitely works to my advantage.
You clearly have like a very sort of business style mindset to you, but then also the martial artist mindset. If you had the choice between the two fights, Nurmagomedov or McGregor, I mean, one, the martial artist trying to get the title, the other, the businessman getting the money fight. Yeah. Which would you do and why?
Definitely Khabib. Yeah.
So the martial artist weighs over the business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think he has a win over me. Mm-hmm. It kind of eats me up. I just wish I went in there and got the job done. But
what do you think is realistically? Do you have a fight lined up? I won't ask you what it is, but do you have something?
No,
ready?
I don't. No. I was just out there meeting with the UFC, and they're waiting for Khabib and Conor to go before the Nevada State Athletic Commission.
Yeah, that's still not finished.
They'll be suspended, and depending on how long they're suspended, then they're going to match up the rest of the division, and we'll see where everyone matches up.
What do you think the chances are of you getting one of those?
I think they're pretty good.
Yeah.
I think the Khabib fight, probably not so much immediately, but to be in the top 5, anyone could fight for a title at any time. This sport is so crazy, some injuries and so many little variables can throw you right back up in there. As you saw, I was number 11 or 12 and I got a title shot. So being number 4 now, I'm right on the doorstep. But I think it would probably be Ferguson, Conor, or Dustin Poirier. Max coming up.
I was going to say, how would you feel about
possibility?
Yeah, welcoming all the way into lightweight.
But I think he would probably go right for Khabib, or even a Conor rematch for him. I don't think I would be on his radar moving up so much immediately. So I don't know. We'll see how everything plays out.
Let's talk about weight cuts, because I find them really interesting. It's obviously a problem. It's still not right. MMA is still pretty much in its infancy in the way that we're growing and learning. The sport's changing a lot. What are your immediate emotions around it, and what would you recommend?
I like the weight cuts the way they are, because I don't really cut a lot of weight.
Yeah.
So I like seeing people struggle. It means it's an advantage for me. When my opponent's struggling, I'm like, oh, look at that,
Yeah.
Because it's such a... You could train for 10 weeks, and do everything perfect. And then you have a really hard weight cut. And I feel like that you could have done everything perfect, and right up until that weight cut, if you mess that up, it's like you might as well have not done that 10 weeks, Almost more important, you could do three decent training weeks and have a great weight cut. And that's almost like the same thing. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
That's how I kind of see it. Like,
yeah, no, it totally
that last 48 hours before the fight is so important, to put yourself through so much stress, to deplete yourself and really just kill yourself, to where some of these guys, they can like barely walk in there. Their mouth is dry for days on. It's just not healthy. It's not good. So I don't cut a lot of weight. I cut maybe like 10 pounds throughout the week, and it's not an extreme.
It's interesting to hear you say that you kind of like it, because what I have heard is that it can help fighters. I think John Kavanagh has said before how it can help psychologically get you in the right frame of mind, like starving before having to do something, really pushing your body to a limit, and having almost a habit of doing that before a fight can make you sort of more aggressive, more violent, and put you in the right focus and mindset.
Yeah.
Does it do that for you?
It does. It's when you do have a fight coming up, it's 24/7. For heavyweights, they don't have to cut that weight, so I don't think they're always thinking about their diet. And when you got a fight coming up and you got to be this weight on this day, every meal you're thinking about that fight. Every time you get hungry, you're thinking about the fight. It's always in your mind. It keeps you focused. It keeps you on point that whole time leading up to the weigh-in and leading up to the fight. So yeah, I could definitely see that to an extent. It gets. I feel like if you put yourself through that much stress, no matter what the benefit is mentally, just the physical drain is not worth it for sure.
Would you ever go down?
No, I wrestled in college my freshman year at 141 pounds, and that was the most miserable. It wasn't a wrestling season; it was a weight cutting season.
Yeah, I know.
And then I just wrestled afterwards. I was just thinking about making weight. I didn't really get better as a wrestler. I just killed myself. So I said, "There's no way I want to do that in MMA. I'm always going to be thinking about getting better, improving, and always just trying to improve as a fighter rather than cut an extra 5 pounds."
So if weight cut's not that bad for you, what's the worst thing approaching a fight for you that sort of last week? You're quite balanced. You're quite chilled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too bad for you in general.
I enjoy that. This whole fight week, I enjoyed everything.
Really?
I enjoyed going away.
You like the press too? All the questions, all the interviews?
Yeah, I love it all.
Yeah.
I love it all.
There's a glint in your eye there.
The whole process. It's fun. It's fun to me. I like going to a new... I really enjoy traveling, going to a new place. This was in Milwaukee. I probably never went to Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
Milwaukee what a nice, beautiful, clean city. Old... like older looking buildings. The food there is great. The Harley Davidson was founded in Milwaukee, so we traveled. I'm traveling to a place that I never would have picked on the map, Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So I got to go to Milwaukee, a place I never would have went. Got to experience their food.
Have you been to London?
I have not.
Have you thought about March in London?
That would be nice.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'm going to be fighting that soon.
That's where I'm going.
But
yeah,
I would like to go. I would definitely want to be in London for sure.
So you're not thinking March. You're thinking April.
End of March.
End of March.
End of March. There's a card at the end of March in Philadelphia. That would be doable.
Ideal for you. Yeah, I'd really say that.
But I don't think before then. Probably not. That might even be a little soon. But definitely April.
I've gone off subject. I wanted to talk to you about Kevin Lee a little bit. I know after your Kevin Lee fight, a lot of press mentioned how you had, I think the word they used was matured. How did you feel about that? I wasn't sure if matured was that much of a positive word, but they felt that you matured.
I'll take it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Not too bad. Do you feel you've matured?
I hope so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you want to grow up.
Right?
Yeah.
I think I'm constantly maturing in some ways. But I think Kevin Lee brought out, I think he was like the perfect opponent to bring out like the way we our personalities clashed and kind of it brought out, I think, a more mature side of me. I think he's, I don't know. He's searching for something. I don't know what he's looking for.
How much difference does it make in a fight having a personality clash, having that edge or a story alongside it for you as a fighter? Or does it really not matter who's in front of you?
Yeah, I don't think it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, but it was definitely, it was fun leading up to it, hearing the things that he said. I feel like I was so far ahead of him as far as that, like his, at the weigh-ins, he looked at me and he goes, oh, same Al, same guy, right? Same, like, dude, come on. Is that what you're coming into this fight with, thinking that I'm the same guy as 5 years ago when we fought? Like, if that's what you're banking on, you're in big trouble.
Massive underestimation.
Yeah. And it was almost like such a weak attempt at him trying to mentally attack me. I just threw it right back in his face. I was like, yeah, it is. Okay. The same Al beat you last time. It's going to be the same thing this time. You better hope it's not the same Al.
You're almost looking for someone to bring you good smack talk. Like even when Conor tweeted you recently, you were like, well, it's not a Who the fuck is that guy moment? It wasn't good enough for you.
Yeah, I was not impressed. It wasn't, who the fuck is that guy? I thought it was going to be, give me one of those. Come on, make me a star, Conor. I thought you were going to make me a star. I want the red panty night. Come on. Now you could come in with this, whatever he said. And I was like, oh, that's lame. But
he can do better.
But like I said, he's saving the good stuff for the fight. So
Al, I'm catching you at like a pretty good time. It's like stars are aligning recently. What does 2019 look like for you?
I just feel like I'm going to keep building off this last year. This last year was a lot of hard work in the years building up to this past year. So I think that a lot of the hard work has paid off, and now people are starting to see and respect the work that I've put in. And I think that it's going to continue this year. You know, the December 15th opened a lot of people's eyes, and they said, wow, you know, maybe this guy that went in there and fought Khabib tough wasn't just a, you know, crazy tough guy that took the fight. You know, he's just out of his mind crazy. Maybe he's got a lot of talent behind him that can you know, defeat any guy on any day. And that's what I'm going to do this year for sure. For
2019, is it quality over quantity, or do you want to be busy?
I think that's just a balance of the two. You know, it's I would love to stay busy for sure.
Yeah,
definitely want to stay busy, and I haven't been too busy in the past, so definitely would like to get 2-3 fights in this year for sure, and the right fights that the people want to see, fights that excite me, and that are going to get me, you know, right to that title shot and winning that title this year for sure.
Thank you very, very much. This time next year, I think we'll be seeing a very different Al.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Good time with you, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for having us in your home.
Sure.
Thank you.